beautiful day out on the river and enjoy Pittsburgh.
Today, we're going on a boat tour, which actually started a couple minutes ago. So sorry that I am a couple minutes behind.
All right, so my name is Ron Barra. I'm Director of Historic Resources and Facilities for Rivers of Steel. And I am a...
It's nice down here.
So yes, we get jobs. Okay. We stay in the city and we give other people jobs. So I've been with Rivers of Steel since 1998. Actually was hired right out of graduate school to set up our museum and
That's good.
and head up our historic preservation division. And through the years, I've hosted, or we've hosted, probably 50 plus interns, many of whom are from Japan. So there's a lot of opportunity there. So what's Rivers of Steel? Like, if you just pass the boat, it says Rivers of Steel on the side. But,
Yeah, I don't know.
So Rivers of Steel, we are
I just...
nonprofit.
It was like the third deck.
We oversee.
I just don't know if I'm well. So.
Historic properties. We also are stewards for the Rivers of Steel Natural Heritage Area, which covers 8 counties in southwestern Pennsylvania. And the central point behind all of this is to preserve and interpret and promote the rich industrial legacy and culture of this region, and use that to help drive economic revitalization. So we do programming at our 4 sites, being the National Historic Landmark Post Building in Homestead, which is related to the 1892 Homestead Steel Strike. Hopefully you all learned about in high school and learn some more about this year. And then we also have the pump house, which is in Munhall, which was the site.
This looks good.
And
this looks really good.
Machine shop in Rice's Landing. And we also have our flagship, the Mary Furnace.
Let's go ahead and sit down.
In Lincoln and Swissvale here. Now that site really is the epicenter.
It's super nice in here.
And the story that we tell.
We'll probably go outside in 10 minutes.
Last furnace site that operated from 1907 to 1979, and really is that epitome of what Pittsburgh is all about. It's where innovation and ingenuity came together to really set the standard for what happened, not just in this region, but throughout the world. And that's what Pittsburgh's all about. And Kirsten will be talking a lot about that in a few minutes. This is a remarkable city, and a city that has been able to go through many different phases and still lead the way and be at the vanguard of innovation throughout the world. Whether it was the glass industry, the iron industry, into steel industry, and now into biomedical research and robotics.
Welcome in, everybody.
We are very fortunate to be in a place that has made its mark on the world.
Just give me a second. Let's touch up.
You guys will be. So I'm going to turn it over to Coach.
So we do have a snack on our tour.
All of a sudden, folks started saying, like, it's moving. So I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about where we actually are. See, because Pittsburgh itself has changed remarkably the last several hundred years.
Let's give these plus a try.
This area has been inhabited by people for 10,000 years. And it really starts with the topography. So right now, we are on the Ohio River. Of course, I'm sure you've heard this ad nauseum, probably this week, but Pittsburgh sits on the confluence of 2 major rivers to create this 3rd river right here. We're on the Ohio, and back in one direction, you got the Allegheny River, and back in the other direction, you got the Monongahela River. All of these rivers are extraordinarily important when it comes to who is here and why and where are they going. Because, quite frankly, control of this region means control of the water. If you're controlling the water, it means you can move goods and services and people anywhere you want to go. Because from this vantage point, you can navigate all the way up to the Great Lakes and then down to the Mississippi River and down to the Gulf of Mexico. Or if you wanted to go in a different direction, you can eventually get up and out through New York City. You could go all the way to Canada. So the confluence of the Alleghenies and the Monongahela to form the Ohio where we are right now, this is particularly important because of where we are sitting. So if you look at the geography of this region, look at these rivers, they're wide, flat, they are prone to flooding. But what it does is it creates an incredibly fertile area where lots of trees are going to grow, which means lots of lumber is available to be used. It also means there are lots of plants and animals around here, which means those are also natural resources to be used. And ancient people understood that. And they also understood that you don't want to actually live right near the rivers because those rivers, if they're going to flood, it's going to destroy where everybody is living and it's going to destroy all of their resources. So start moving up these hillsides. So Pittsburgh is also comprised of these really high, flat hills. So once you get up to the top, the hills kind of flatten out. It's gentle and it's undulating, and it's actually it's a perfect geographic situation for the movement of natural resources. And so the indigenous people in this region were doing that for thousands of years. And so you get into the late 17th, early 18th century, because then who comes home? The French. The French come home and they realize that, oh my goodness, we can get anywhere we want to get just from this region alone. So they establish a small trading outpost right at the point. And it's named Fort Duquesne. And eventually, 100 years after the French are here, the British show up. And we all know what happens when the British see something that the French have. They want it. You're going to take it. You start fighting.
Okay. All right, you guys. So,
Needs control of the
we're on the Getaway Clipper.
And by the time the British are here,
We rented out the boat.
these waterways, they're primarily interested in
So, that is super, super nice.
lots of coal in southwestern Pennsylvania. This particular region has one of the largest bituminous coal seams in the entire United States. So not only is there more coal here, there's a better quality coal than pretty much anywhere else, and it is tucked up in these hills. In fact, one of the earliest areas to be mined for coal is a place called Coal Hill, which is now in Washington. And that coal becomes important in the 19th century when coal with water heated up. What gets created? Steam. Steam power. Steam power is incredibly important to propel the Industrial Revolution forward. So the Industrial Revolution gets started in Pittsburgh actually pretty early, comparatively early. If you want to look at other cities, other urban areas of the United States in the 19th century. And it is primarily due to the availability of all of that coal and all of that water. So river transportation starts to grow, particularly with black bottom riverboats, like some of these barges that you can see. It makes it easy to transport all kinds of people and goods around. Essentially, another invention comes along, which is
You know what could be cool?
the railroad gets started in Pittsburgh.
And there's obviously the space to do so. Is make this inside space like a wedding. Food could be on the second floor.
And one of those things designed whatever is used along these rivers. And so there are trees that are
Yeah, some water. Yeah, we actually have a full service bar.
So the mining industry is really one of the first industries that takes off. You also have
So we might go outside.
road making because of the availability of river transportation.
At least a little while.
So you start seeing these rivers and start seeing lots of road making. And you'll also see a lot of the glassmaking companies have really wide and flat sandy bottoms. And all of that things
This will probably be my only live stream on the day.
these early industries.
And let me just get myself some water. Yeah. Just giving myself some water. Stay hydrated on a day like today. You know, I do like lemonade, Gatorade, that type of stuff more. But in clutching water, it's amazing.
In the 1860s tended to get incredibly anxious about what was going to because making deal control some factories that are extraordinarily important to this city by the 1860s. In fact, I'm going to pull out my notes here because the notes.
Wow, it is blinded.
Notes are important.
Oh, here we go. Aperture. Freezing to do a tour like this during the winter. I don't know if they do it during the winter time or not. But if they do, I would probably just bring like a couple of jackets. Like have a couple of jackets on. You don't worry, I have a whaling. Here's a river walk, which I hope to see the whole entire river walk. By the way, everybody, I will not be editing this live stream, as this should be a YouTube exclusive only video. Here we are. My favorite ballpark in America. PNC Park. And try to get a decent shot of it. Here we go. By the way, guys, if I somehow cut out, I will do a part 2. Because this tour is like an hour and a half, so I wouldn't be surprised if it somehow is cut out for a while. Once you get past the skyline a little bit, we will start heading up. That's what's going to do that now.
Like these are things that came right from the city. It's kind of interesting to kind of think about, okay, so they're coming from the city. Why can't they see it? And so they're looking at a Pittsburgh that has existed in so many different forms, in so many different ways.
Wow, guys, we are on a bridge.
So many different
Unbelievable.
lives. And we were thinking about that kind of industrial development.
So here's what's nice about being on a second deck.
Innovation.
It has to fall.
Back to the river.
It's been a long way. Plus, you have a whale.
Resources. It comes back to why they're
To make it even more safe.
resources in order to build.
Plus, some way in the middle.
And so
All right, guys, here we go. Another bridge.
Places like the Ellis Company here. Why does somebody
Zoom in and see if we can see any fish.
be steel making?
Yeah, I don't see any.
Especially when you get towards the end of the 19th century, lots of things are starting to coalesce and they're starting to change rapidly. Ouch. Okay. They're starting to change really rapidly because you've got this water, you've got this coal, you've got.
Hey, how are you?
Iron.
Good.
They're getting charged like
Right, that's the Great Lakes. It's going to unload on the trains and those great big ore trains down in Pittsburgh. And when you combine that coal with that iron ore, you combine it with the water and the availability of another natural resource in this region, limestone, it's just a gray rock. And there's a lot of this gray rock. Okay, there's a lot of this gray rock. When you combine all of those things, you can build an entire empire.
Oh, it looks just stunning.
Are starting to expand, and other companies are starting to begin in the 70s. Andrew Carnegie starts
Here.
by building up on the Monongahela River. He starts by building the Edward Thompson Works.
I know, you're behind some people, but that's okay.
Left in the state of Pennsylvania, and almost such a state of Ohio. It's the only steel mill remaining in the state of Pennsylvania, and that steel mill has been in operation since 1875. You have a place like Fort Dix Foundry, which has been in operation since the 1850s, really. Right in those in 1870s, things are starting to change again. Pittsburgh is kind of moving from being the center of iron production, and they're starting to become a center of steel production. And it really has everything to do with the technological advancements that Edward Carnegie is pushing. So when Edward Carnegie establishes the Edward Thompson Works in Braddock, up on, he's also established.
How is that close?
He's on the Ohio. He's building as much as he can, as quickly as he can. What he's really doing is he is looking towards this next generation of development, and that development is steel, because iron is a perfectly good product, but it is prone to breaking. It breaks down really easily. It rusts. It's not particularly long lived. Sometimes it can be difficult to work with. In the 19th century, it's actually particularly difficult to manufacture because that manufacturing is really centered on a
Pittsburgh skyline.
that are making iron.
Yeah, I think it looks wonderful. Without my glasses on, actually.
But then you have financiers and investors who are looking towards this kind of expansion and industrial development. And you're looking at it and thinking, you know what? If you make these factories bigger, and we automate these processes, and we can look at converting this iron into something else, into steel. And we can do it tons and tons and tons at a time. And we can do that by taking that iron and just putting oxygen, a little carbon in there, maybe a few other elements, depending on whatever steel they wanted to make. And they realized that steel is a lot stronger than iron. It's more valuable. Oh, I want to do chemistry chat because I can't do chemistry chat.
Hi. Real quick, just some talk. Just to talk about the ingredients that you need in this area over time. It's not enough of vegetables. And about the differences between just to highlight that a little bit and talk about this change, because iron making is really much more than artisan form of production than what we would think about as an iron steel today, right? So if you were to go down the line to where Edgar Bob's is, or you drive past something like Derry on your way to Chicago, you see these massive facilities, right? For a long time, iron was primarily done in the form of putter. If you've ever seen the guys, they have like a big kind of long pole, they're stirring sort of the molten iron inside there. That is the process they're done to it. And again, as Carson said, you really need three things to think about this process. First of all, you need iron and work, easy to come across. Most of it originally, some of it's out of here. Eventually, they start to ship to the Saudi Ranch in Minnesota.
All right, welcome to Minnesota.
You need coke, which is your coal product. If you guys think about charcoal,
Why not? In case you guys are wondering, we are on the boat way clipper.
Coke is very simple. Coke is just your coal, which has been made.
Yes, so we are on a gateway clipper.
It's still a pretty impure product, but it's clear in a certain sense. That was made eventually around here in Clairton, where some of you may have heard of a large explosion, but there is still coke production in the region. And the last thing that you need is limestone, which Kirsten alludes to. What happens is, people talk about.
So guys, now we're out of the skyline.
Misnomer in a sense, because really what you're doing is recycling. Raw iron ore, you melt it down.
It'd be cool if we can somehow see Kennywood, but I don't think that's happening. So it's probably the last look to the skyline for a while.
Because raw iron ore has a high carbon content. Quite frankly, things are made out of cast iron. It's next stage up are still quite good. Let's take a sledgehammer, not fast because you do this distance from a radiator to a cast iron. It's not that hard. But to even get it to that point where it's usable, you need to refine all those impurities. So you put your iron ore into a vessel, you heat it with that coke to get it to a very high temperature, which about 2400 degrees. And then you add in limestone, which Kirsten was alluding to. Limestone is what we call flux. When it enters into the mix, essentially it dissolves and it pulls those carbon particles to the top of the kind of metal liquid. You can then skim that off, and that becomes they call slag. You've got porous rock. They actually use it all around here as fill. A lot of housing developments, properties, etc. built on all the long-drain slag. People in fact used to go watch it get poured out or hillsides and have this fireworks. But when you do that process, you get it hot. So again, ironwork, limestone, you skim that off. You're left with cast iron. And for years, what had to happen was in that next step to make steel, you have to reintroduce steel scrap into that mix, as well as put it under oxygen and move it by, again, stirring it. Almost, if I was making a comparison point, you think about how you have to make bread or make bread, right, in order to get it to reach the kind of long with the things that are the most inside it, to get it those right conditions to rise. You're doing something similar in your puddle, right, by trying to stir that iron, basically to get a couple extra carbon particles out of there, which will cause those bonds to reform, turning it into steel. And as Carson said, the benefit there, iron's a strong product, but it doesn't basically won't bend, right? It's more brittle, it'll break. And you cannot produce the kind of superstructures that the country was trending towards, unless you were able to produce steel. So you look at bridges, you look at skyscrapers. You can build a bridge before, right? A very long span, particularly. You might notice it kind of bounces slightly. That can be kind of freaky, right? But you want it to do that because if it wasn't balancing, if it wasn't moving, and then that means it would end up breaking. The same is true with skyscraper. You can't really notice it, but they kind of make it ever so slightly. But that's what steel is. It's a big block. It's make harder metals for things that can put in more material, etc. The thing though is that for a long time, it was only possible to produce steel, as Kirsten was saying, in a
I don't know what this is. I think it's
really able to get the amounts necessary.
a steel factory.
What ended up happening, a lot of early steel technology, particularly in the mid 1800s into about 1870s, really coming like Andrew Carnegie, watching a lot of innovations that were happening over there, looked and saw the production system called the Bessemer system. It was being put into use for large scale steel production.
There you go. Can we still hear me? Good. And everyone still hear me. I hope so. I'm just asking my Siri to turn my the power mode.
With far less input and a far larger size, meaning that you're able to get
Oh, it does look like we're turning back.
and with a much larger scale, you're able to then this kind of cycle, generate more steel, sell more steel, create more value, buy more technologies, produce more steel, leading to creations of these massive steel facilities and all over the south. And again, it should be noted, aside from the benefits of transportation that are coming through here, the real benefit of having this much basically available water, the iron and steel production is the need to cool all of these facilities. So if you guys think of something like nuclear power plants, for example, right? Nuclear power plants are all built by bodies of water because you need to draw massive amounts of water every single day, run them through um, or in order to cool it out. And then it's got to come to a whole new system. You know, clearly, a little worse than nuclear power plant is not getting cooled down, but it's still bad for something like
All right, now
it's too hot. Because these are basically like
that's nice.
and you don't want them to end up spoiled. So it's taking millions and millions of gallons every single day, pumping them through, running them and cooling around all of these. And then truthfully, it's pumping them back into the river. That, it's worth noting in and of itself, is a major reason why for years the rivers had such a quote ecological situation, right? Because think of it this way. Yeah,
That's sound.
one last thing. The Steelers, I'm sure many people have seen it, especially if you grew up around it. But Steelers logo painting inside the season has three what sort of look like stars on it. What those are actually called cycles. That's not a
Wow, so we actually have two for stormers bars. I didn't realize that.
Those ingredients that we keep mentioning, iron, coke.
You have more professors.
Those are what those stars represent.
Oh, we have some professors. Oh, I gotta go say hi.
Just basically
But of course I won't film them. Oh, I'll keep it to me. Hello, how are you? Right.
Talking about this capitalist class. Brian was talking about this capitalist class of people. And, the primary economic investors, right?
Yeah, that's a steel building right there. As you can tell with the
They were the ones who owned the coal mine. They were the ones who.
these towers.
They were the ones who owned the steel.
That's Heinz.
But I do want.
Hello, Doctor. Hello, guys. How are you? Good.
They purchased the ability to bring engineers on board. Say, okay, how can I do this? How can I do this fast? So entry. So when we talk about you're just spend 4 years here. A lot of people talk about it.
That's
and others.
I'm gonna sit down with the ladies.
You're going to hear about. You're going to hear about clients. You're going to hear about others who are.
Hey, ladies. How are you? Good.
Is your YouTube video?
Of course. I'm actually live.
Oh, you're live on YouTube?
Yeah, wanna read it?
What?
Well, in order to make
Hi, YouTube. Is anyone on?
Yeah, 21 people.
How many?
20.
21. 21.
Yeah.
No! It's 19.
Well, now it dropped to 15.
And I felt dropped because something funny.
But you know what? Hey, people sometimes they just gotta go somewhere.
They're busy. No, they love me. Yeah.
Hey, I believe it.
You're live.
in order to build and
How many viewers do you have?
14 right now at the moment.
Wow, keepers, that's a lot.
But of course, it just bumped up to 20. Welcome in, everybody. 0 likes.
What the heck? People are probably just busy watching.
Oh boy.
Wait, what's your YouTube channel called again?
Nick Lifestyle.
They
Wait, can you type it in?
Yeah, sure.
Get money means investing in this structural industrial expansion. I mean, hundreds of thousands of people. Where are they going to get them?
Hit
You know,
that
it's sure it's
follow button.
They don't live in Pittsburgh. Lots of people are still living very agriculturally based lives.
Here we go.
Pittsburgh in our country very quickly.
Here, I'll sign in so I
Cool.
can subscribe.
Thanks.
I want to subscribe to
Nick
Nick Lifestyle 655.
It's this boat ride is beautiful.
It
It's, I like the skyline, but I really thought we would go out more.
Wait, can you super record me again?
Yeah, sure.
Wait, it's like lagging.
It is.
It's like on my side, it's different. Oh, it's just a Oh my golly.
That's crazy. Let me try that. What do we have? Someone is literally watching my live.
That's cool.
Wow, I'm live. After that, happen, like almost 0. So anyway, what I want to do is talk to some professors and stuff, but I won't include them. I'm just gonna keep it to me.
They might not want to be.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Can I
So-
tell them a joke?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Wait, never mind. I can't do it today. So yeah, next time I have to say, I can't tell you right now just because my joke, it's not ready.
Ah,
Wait, actually, are you recording me still?
yeah, I know.
Guys, I need hugs. If you're from Pittsburgh, come my way. At Sam Wag 25 on Snapchat.
Okay.
Again, Sam Wag 25.
You know what?
Again, Sam Wag 25. Yeah.
But do you ladies? No, don't worry. I'm not filming you now. But do you ladies go to like, basketball games and stuff?
We will have to.
Well, there's only one game that you're required to go to. It's the white and blue game. Every other game you don't have to go. Anyway, guys, let me check that out.
Oh no, I missed my something.
Once you get into
Alright, guys, so let's head outside, eat some pretzels, and I'm gonna head outside, ladies.
Okay,
See ya.
you start seeing the continuals of what we're and without an economic opportunity for people who are living mostly agriculturally based lifestyles.
Oh, that's my name. Not so.
If you can actually get to Pittsburgh, you did so. You're maybe in Pittsburgh and you can walk up to and know you can prove you have 2 eyes, you can see. Okay, right? You have knees. Good.
Hello,
Yes.
Dr. John. How are you doing?
And you shovel. Great. Come on in.
Yeah, his name is Professor John,
Second point.
but I call him Doctor.
extraordinarily dangerous. But that kind of industrial technology that requires humans to not actually be able to, they don't need to be so fast. They need to be able to shovel. They need to be able to turn levers. They need to be able
This book is really cool though, because you get to on this tour, you get to learn all about the steel history.
We'll look at it and say, "Oh, yeah." Even though it is a skill, we don't necessarily look at it and follow that. But if immigrants can get here from Eastern Europe, especially in the turn of the century, Pittsburgh itself starts to absolutely fill to the seams with people from elsewhere. I think that's one of the things that is particularly interesting to me about Pittsburgh's history is that for the most part, everybody is from somewhere else. They have a history from somewhere else, and they're brought here largely because of the biggest economic drivers in the 19th century. And then going on with that.
And yeah, free process.
Blast furnaces,
By the way,
coke factories.
Aqua, this UK University rented out this boat just for us liberal arts students.
Lots of times these companies, Trinity was really quite doing this and having that date agents that would be kind of standing in places like Ellis Island. When you'd be there with these gate agents would be there with some tickets in their hands. This ticket on the train is real cheap. It doesn't actually cost the company much of anything. So if you're standing there, pile of tickets and say, job. Do you need a job? Do you want work? Go to Pittsburgh. And just start handing out those train tickets to people. You get on the train and you come down into Pittsburgh. And they are met with an environment that looks
Yeah, just eating process.
mostly was. They're looking at a place that is dark all the time. They're looking at a place that is filled with smoke and smog. They're looking at rivers and water that have no discernible trace of living. But what they also see, lining all of these rivers, they see the mills. And they get off that train. Most of the time, they don't have much money in their pocket, but they have enough money that they might be able to go up into the hills and see about a room at a boarding house. They might get a room at a boarding house, spend the last couple of dollars in their pocket to secure a room for a couple of weeks, and then they come right on down to would see them, see that they are physically capable. English doesn't even particularly matter if they can read and write. Nobody cares about that. They go in and they just do whatever they're assigned to do. Most of the time, people coming in the mills are coming in as laborers. And labor can mean pretty much anything. It can mean anything from shoveling and sweeping center. Could mean working a floor of a cast house in a blast furnace. Could mean working on the floor of a rolling mill. Could mean firing bricks. But if you could get into some of those jobs, especially with something like brick, well, that means then you can enter a trade. As trades start to build up because more people are coming in, people are starting to come in. Spending the last couple of dollars in their pocket for a little bit more costs them a chance to get a job. But if they get that job, it means they have a steady wage. Now, that steady wage basically amounts to turning the last century, 1900 $1.65 every day. That $1.65, you've got to break that down a little bit further. You're working for 12 hours. So it's 12-hour shifts, 7 days a week.
Hey, what's up?
Every couple of weeks, you might get a shift off, but in order to get that shift off, you have to swing. You have to swing a shift from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. or 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. 13 cents an hour is what it amounts to. And by the way, that 13 cents an hour, that is an assumption if you're white. If you're not, you're half.
Wow. So imagine getting paid 6 cents an hour.
And every couple of weeks, you might get that the next shift off. That's enough money to live. boarding house for as long as you can stand it. It's also enough money to afford to buy food. You can get a couple of hot meals a day for that if you want. It's enough money to actually save some more money so that you can buy your boat to send it back to wherever you might have come from to get the next person over. Because, hey, look, this work is hard. It's terrible. It's exhausting. It will physically break down a person as quickly as possible. Because one thing to remember is that people, when they're working in these steel mills, they're not considered people. Not really. They're part of the machine. They're just a cost of the company for doing business. But if they do, bring the next person up, or they can bring the next couple of people over. Now you've got a family to work with, and maybe that family can start pooling their resources. Maybe you can move out of that boarding house. Because no sooner than you move out of boarding house, the next person comes in and takes that bed. But if you can move into, let's say, an apartment or a set of rooms, a little space to stretch out, maybe you don't have to live so close to the mill.
Zakitra Stadium again.
So right now we're on the Ohio. We've just come back up from the Allegheny. Now we are going to enter the Monongahela. One thing I want you to pay attention to as we're kind of going up from the Monongahela for a bit is if you're looking at these hills, looking at how high and steep they are, I want you to imagine these hills.
Yeah, that was my second goal plus already.
All the way down to the flat part.
But still, we were good. I know they don't make it here, but whatever.
It's kind of unbroken between what's going on at home and then you come down into work and coming down into the river. But what people can do is if they could get enough money and they can get enough people here, they don't have to live quite so close to the mill. They don't have to live in a boarding house that is sometimes quite literally on the wrong side of the track. And they can start moving up the hill. If you move up the hill, well, no heat, smoke, because one thing about that smoke and that swab really does settle in the river valleys. It's kind of safe rivers, and it would make it extremely difficult to actually live.
You know, I haven't been this side.
Well, you're up above the line of the smoke and the swab. The air is looking good.
Wow, doesn't this feel nice?
It needs the living conditions.
And now passing the foot pit tunnel.
It's extraordinarily important because the further you can get away from the mill, the further you can get away from all of the diseases that run.
Which, by the way, us walkers and bikers aren't allowed inside the foot pit tunnel. Only
one
cars.
It's a British. It was a British reporter who came to Pittsburgh in the 1880s and took one look at the city. By the way, he came into the city by train, came in at night, and his first comment about this place is that it looked like hell with the lid blown off. He also described it as being a place where not even Satan himself would want to live. There was another British writer who was buddies with Andrew Carnegie. Andrew Carnegie brought him here because this guy was a British philosopher, and he was really the guy who was pushing along the idea of social Darwinism. You know, this idea that the best of the best rise to the top because they're naturally gifted, because God has given them all of these gifts and they're just better than everybody else, and that they have an obligation to look at the people beneath them. So this particular philosopher, Carnegie, brought him here. It's like, look at this place. Look at what I have built in Pittsburgh. Isn't it wonderful? Can't you see the masses of humanity living so that they could maybe, maybe get away from something else? And he was describing Pittsburgh to this guy as being
the governor of Hawaii.
but it just underscores.
Whoa.
Excuse me.
You good? It is very, very walky up here. Yeah, I can feel the spokes.
Make it unique. But
All right.
part of that is due to the presence of immigrants, migrants, moving into and out of and through this region.
But let me turn you guys back on. I know it's been like a minute.
And so
Yeah, inside you're not going to get the best footage, but
it's
even inside I've gotten a
yes,
few shots.
one time in the 19th century, there were some of the greatest concentrations of American wealth. If you look up to your right, if you're facing me, on the right side,
Okay, truck.
the sign Station and Square, and that
Well, there's a fence. Anyway.
or R2D2, that's a festival. So that's the thing that turns Pittsburgh from an iron city to a steel city. So part of that kind of imaginative work of thinking about, all right, well, what did the city look like for working class people who are actually doing the labor? They're actually building this place, and they're not just building this place, they're building everything else too. Think about these neighborhoods that are really densely populated, these insides that are just chocolate rock full of row houses. And then if you turn and you look at downtown Pittsburgh itself, one of the really cool things about the way the city is
All right,
situated.
let's set upstairs. Actually, go sit up there. That's where we probably just sit up there the rest of the time. Unless I somehow get really warm. Excuse me.
The only cool thing about this is that you're looking at something like look just beyond that, some of the larger buildings. If you move from things that are made of brick to things that are made of concrete, well, there's 20th century Pittsburgh. And then if you move beyond that and you start looking at the glass, and some of the taller things, some of the new things, it's 21st century Pittsburgh. So you have 19th, 20th, 21st century Pittsburgh, all kind of coalescing together. And if you think about, all right, well, who's making it? It's those working class people, the Indians who are coming from elsewhere. Like I said, you start from Germany and you move into Wales, England, Ireland, and then you move into Western Europe, primarily Italy and Greece, and then you
Hey guys are here.
Eastern Europe.
How are you doing? Oh,
So
What?
a little bit of everything.
Nice to meet you.
do you remember me?
Yes, I do. You're the communications team.
Yes, yes. We met when you came for the
What day was that? I forget.
that was admitted students day.
Oh yes,
Yes.
I
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah. So what major did you declare? Then?
Sports media.
Sports media. So are you taking theology then?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to take theology as a minor.
There's nothing.
No, I'm taking digital as a minor. I think I have to take a theology class, so.
Yeah. You have to take it theology class.
But I don't have one this year though.
A question of if, question of when, how bad.
But this is a great tour though.
It's wonderful.
Am I going to be tired? Is how tired am I going to be? And
That's the best way to begin the year.
Oh, absolutely. Plus we get to give the safety presentation.
Yeah.
See, I like.
Because I would rather be hot here than be sitting inside
Yeah.
and being bored out of my mind for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Which it was. We still wanted to come here because of what.
Wow, it's just gorgeous.
And so for on the mind, one of the things to think about there in terms of, okay, you've got tens, hundreds of thousands of people coming to Pittsburgh primarily jobs.
Anyway, guys, I'll let you guys go and I'll see you
Right?
later.
Because they